The first thing that I saw here is I see this teenage boy. He's probably like 13 or 14. He's riding a bike. He's got a little messenger cap on. He's got like newspaper in the back of his bike. Okay, so he's got like a rack and there are newspaper rolled up. So I think he just came back home from delivering the newspaper. That's what it feels like to me. And he's riding his bike through this dirt road, and there's grass on the side. Okay, this is not like modern day at all. This is a lot, like a couple hundred, like 200-300 years ago. That's what it feels like to me. And then as he's biking, minding his own business, and just having a really good time, he sees a bunch of people, villagers, running in the same direction that he's headed. And then they're all running one after the other, and like multiple throngs of villagers pass by. And he's all like, I wonder what they're doing. And he's just like, this little light bulb, kind of, this spark in his eyes, this little light bulb in his head lights up. And he's all like, I want to see what they're doing. I want to go and explore. And so he follows the path where the villagers are running towards. And it ends right there. So you don't get to see what he's discovering, or you don't get to see what people are doing, or where they're headed, or what's up ahead. Okay, but I feel like there's this spirit of adventure. There's this spirit of there's something here that I want to find out, that I want to unearth, that I want to figure out what the source or the origin. So he goes, he follows the trail. Okay, so it's like, the newspaper indicates to me somebody who's very inquisitive, okay? Somebody who's very, possibly very well read. Somebody who's at least aware of his situation, like situational awareness, but also aware of what's going on in the world, okay? And so I feel like for many of you, something has really piqued your curiosity. And I feel like it's not just an isolated incident. I feel like this, whatever it is that you're hot on the trail of pursuit, I feel like it has bigger, larger ramifications, okay? More like worldly events, things that will affect the world, or things that will affect humankind, or things that affect people more on a global scale, okay? And I feel like that's the only thing that will really pique his interest, because like I said, it's not just one villager that's running in that direction. It's a throngs of villagers repeatedly running down this dirt path towards something in the distance. So I feel like you're on the trail of pursuit of something that you feel is going to be possibly a big story, a big break, or something that's really going to affect a lot of people. Okay, so you're playing you're playing like the investigator in this situation. The other thing that I saw when I was shuffling the cards, give me a moment, let me try to remember what it was. Okay, so I see this ritual, and it looks to me like an Asian country, possibly China. It seems to me like it might be a Chinese cultural event, but there's this this little pond that also runs into a river. Okay, so I feel like there's this it's possibly like the backyard of somebody's house, and it seems like there's a woman, and she's dressed in a royal robe, so she has quite a bit of money, comes from a wealthy family. She's fairly young, unmarried. Okay, and she has like she folded a ship, like a boat. From origami, like she folded it out of paper, and she sets it into the water, and then it slowly, drifts away into the big current, and then it goes into the stream that eventually takes it to the river, and then takes it wherever else it needs to go. So I feel like you're sending out messages to the world, okay? And you're trying to make connections. You're trying to get your ideas out there. That's what it feels like to me, because the whole situation with paper and then water and streamlining something, or bringing something forth into the world. I feel for many of you, it's almost that image, trying to make connections with other people, trying to see if if there is going to be somebody out there that is exactly like you, that has the same interests, the same hobbies, that has the same, almost like the same spiritual path, where they feel inclined to send this little piece of paper and hope that it survives the voyage so that it could reach the hands of somebody else that's very similar to you. So I feel like it's very ritualistic. It's very ritualistic, and I feel as well the concept about, you know, the ship going off to sea or going through some type of a major waterway channel. I feel like it's almost a ritual about releasing as well, okay? Embarking on something new, releasing something old, releasing something in a very physical way, like through a ritual, so that you understand that it's no longer serving you, and you can, you know, kind of release it to the universe and let it be on its way. For some of you, I felt like that image pretty much denotes like some type of a milestone. You might have children that are, you know, about to go off to university, about to go off, and they're leaving the nest to go off somewhere. And so in a way, that ritual denotes like safe passage for somebody, okay? And then for others, I feel like you might have had somebody in your family that might have passed away, and you have safe passage to wherever it is that you need to go. Or you might have somebody physically leaving your environment, and I feel like you're bidding them farewell, and you're sending a lot of guidance and a lot of positivity towards them so that they can have safe passage, so that they can be on their way. So those are the two images that I saw. And I feel like this later, by the way, I want to wish you all a very approaching this period in time with a lot of hope and a lot of excitement for the future. But at the same time, I'm sensing as well, you're setting intentions for the future. You're setting intentions to kind of like, you know, shed weight, shed some things from your past that's no longer, it's no longer good for you to hold on to it. And I feel like you're coming to the realization that if it's not meant to be, it's not meant for me. I'm not going to, you know, there are bigger fish out there, like there are bigger fish in the sea, or there are bigger picture items that I need to focus my mind and my attention to. So all the little annoyances, all the little things that I have to constantly chase after, that I have to manage, that I have to push so hard just to get moving. You're at a point where you feel like maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's not worthwhile anymore. Maybe I need to do things a little bit differently. Maybe I can relinquish control and not, there you go. It's like a whole process of that boat, relinquishing control. Whatever will be. Releasing something so then it can like find its way to its rightful owner. Releasing something so that it can be, so that if it returns to you, then you know it's meant to be. So I see like a moment of finality that's coming into the picture, where you definitely are transitioning here. We have the Death card. And let me get one more card for you guys. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so there's a lot of changes. Lots of changes in store for you, and you're headed into a direction that is very, very positive. What really stood out to me are the fours, okay? So I have here 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, and the 4 of Cups. The only thing that is missing here is the 4 of Wands. And when we do a reading, something's absence can also have a very profound impact on the reading, okay? The 4 of Wands usually denotes a family, marriage, stability, a situation that is very, very stable, okay? So many of you might have clung on to the image, you know, this is clinging on, okay? Not letting go, controlling, but also wanting things a specific way. And the absence of the Four of Wands denotes to me that many of you have this idealized vision. Not so much that you're idealistic, but you want a specific thing. This vision of what marriage is supposed to be, this vision of what relationships are supposed to be, this vision of what an ideal home is supposed to be like. And I feel like it's a very standard archetype that you're going after, okay? And for all of my viewers who are, in same-sex relationships, take this how this applies. But what I'm seeing here is there's this idealized vision as well that might have even been kind of imposed upon you, okay? Like the household unit needs to have a mom, needs to have a dad, needs to have like possibly 2 kids, needs to have a pet, a cat or a dog, the SUV in the driveway, the white picket fence, the cottage. So that's what I'm feeling. And even if you are, in same-sex relationships, there's this sense of, I almost feel like denying your sexuality, okay? Wanting to subscribe to some type of conform to some type of a vision of what family is supposed to be like, or even social expectations. Now, Aries are not conformists. Aries are not conformists. But I feel this energy playing out in your life where you kind of, you feel like you have to meet some type of a standard. And you also feel as well that some things are meant to be this way, mainly because it has always been like this. And because it's been tried and true, maybe it's the best way. And I feel like, over the years, as you age, as you progress, you realize that clinging on to this expectation might have had adverse consequences, okay? It might not have allowed you to date people who are very drastically different from you. It might not have allowed you to accept the fact that, you know what? The whole concept about relationships, and especially marriage, they serve institutional purposes, okay? And institutional purposes allows us to kind of organize, compartmentalize, the whole concept about filing joint taxes, for example. It's just easier. It's a way for people to kind of like keep track of how many people are in the household. It's just a bureaucratic way of keeping tabs on people. And as you get older, you might realize as well, that's all it is. And some of you might be in your, late 20s watching this, and you're just like, I don't really want to conform to that anymore. I want to just have, for example, a cohabitation situation where we don't have to get married. We don't have to have expectations imposed upon one another, where we don't get labeled. We can just enjoy each other's presence without all these expectations about relationships, about marriage, about parenting, about childcare, okay? So I feel like there was a tremendous amount of energy in your early years devoted to trying to build up what you feel might have been that perfect, idyllic household, marriage, relationship situation. And you found out over the years that it's not really meant for me. We're Aries. We're supposed to do things differently. We're supposed to trailblaze. We're supposed to be on the forefront, pretty much, advocating for change too. And we're supposed to find something that is unique, that serves its purpose in our lives. So I definitely feel like, you guys are going out debunking a lot of institutional expectations, social expectations, family expectations, overthrowing traditions that might not be good. They've been around, but you're starting to realize how they can be very, very restrictive. And you're kind of keeping true to your course, okay? And the other thing I'm sensing as well is there might have been some type of a situation that you're definitely releasing and relinquishing control on. Both of these cards to me indicate a situation where there is enlightenment, seeing a different perspective as well. The Four of Swords is usually about spiritual ascension, okay? And then in this situation, it also as well denotes coming to understanding of a higher purpose, okay? No longer wanting to control a situation, mainly because when we control, we realize is that it creates, I'm getting like anxiety. It creates anxiety within us. And I feel like it's very much relationship oriented. A lot of you guys, when you're in a relationship, you want to be the apple of the other person's eyes, okay? You want to share every moment of your day, your experiences. You want to share all of that with a relationship partner. You have your friends, you have your, groups, and you can be very, very independent. But when it comes to a relationship, I feel like some of you might be a little bit more on the possessive side. And as a result of that, you might want your partner to, give you that 100%. And when they tell you, oh, I'm going to hang out with, my girlfriends today, or my boyfriend, or my guy friends today, I feel like it can make you feel a little bit like jealous, and it can make you feel like, where are you going that you can't go without me? And so I definitely see this concept building up where you are releasing control, and you're letting somebody be, and you're also understanding that this is not a good place for me to be. It creates a lot of anxiety, so I'm just going to relinquish control, and I'm just going to let the situation naturally unfold organically the way it's meant to, rather than trying to micromanage elements within it. Okay. I'm also seeing as well, there's a situation here where you're not happy with the work environment. You're definitely climbing that ladder, okay, rung by rung. You're climbing that ladder. But in some capacity, I feel like at the end of the road, once you're at the top, you're just like, what's next? You want to make your mark on the world. You want to do something that is a little bit more like trailblazing, a lot more adventurous, a lot more that stirs your passion. And I'm also feeling like you've been doing a lot of things that were expected of you in order to get this, really strong financial foundation. And now that you have achieved the financial foundation, the home, the luxury car, many of you have property that accrues a lot of value, okay, over the years. And so you're just like, what's next? Like, what do I need to do now that I can transition? Which way do I go? And I feel like you're kind of like at a crossroads, it seems, because this is a card about choices, options that are opening up for us, okay? When it comes to career, it's basically like talking and interacting with a lot of people from different walks of life. And you're finding out their life story. You're interacting with them in a way where they're telling you, oh, yeah, I'm doing this. And then somebody else is like, I'm doing that. And it opens up a new world for you. Like so many options, so many choices are basically uncovered, coming into the picture, being unveiled to you. And now you're just like, my life is a little bit lackluster. I need to do what the other people are doing. But in a way, there's this pride within you too. I don't want to follow the herd. I want to create my own thing, or I want to come into, I want to come into existence, or will something into existence that is uniquely me, that doesn't, that's not just jumping on the bandwagon. That's what it feels like. And you're trying to create that. You're trying to come to terms with that. And I see a lot of people thinking possibly shifting from some type of a 9-to-5 job. We have here the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Coins, 8 of Pentacles. This is what I usually think about, like a regular 9-to-5, working for another person. And you're shifting from this, and you possibly have a really, really good idea. Somebody possibly is coming into the picture and giving you some type of pointers. They might be telling you, I'm self-employed, and I have this venture that I'm doing. And it's kind of like, the wheels are set in motion for you to think about, what am I doing now? What do I need to do? And I feel many of you are at a point where you're thinking about being, the business owner, being the self-employment person, or being the self-employed person, or seek self-employment for yourself, because you're at a point where you might be a little bit bored, okay? We have here the Six of Coins, and this is a card about money coming in from institutions. And I'm seriously seeing as well, many of you are looking at selling property, releasing property, and you're possibly even talking to somebody to see how much your property is worth, like a real estate agent, a broker, or somebody who... I'm seeing a lot of releasing property. We have the Tower, and we also have the Page of Wands. So the Tower with the Page of Wands, it denotes transitioning from one place into the next. And you're trying to be smart about this too. You're just like, the home, do I need to restore it? Do I need to do like massive repairs on it before I sell it? Or can I just leave it as is and transition into a new house? So many of you are thinking about, getting a different loan for a new property, relinquishing your property, and then trying to figure out where to go to. And I feel like where you're trying to go is not yet clearly defined for you. You definitely have options, okay? Seven of Cups, lots and lots and lots of options. You're narrowing down your options, which is good. Four of Cups. So some options that are a little bit too frivolous, that are a little bit too idealistic, I feel like they're being knocked down. And so you're looking at a few other options that you have when it comes to work, when it comes to buy new property. And I feel like you don't want to leave the geographical location where you're at, mainly because your network is there, your social network, your professional network. It's the place that you're used to. But I feel like there aren't a lot of newness coming into this new this environment. And so you're trying to exact change, and you're trying to shift into something that has a lot more, that jives with your energy. Okay, so you definitely have a place in mind, I feel, of where if you had a chance or an opportunity comes into the picture, where geographically would you want to relocate to? Would you want to work at? Would you want to, uproot and settle down to? Many of you have this concept or this idea. It's already like solidified in your head. But you're hesitant about making that major transition because you understand it's going to be uprooting everything that you know, that you've really, spent many, many years creating. Your career, your social network, your friendships, your professional contacts. This is like safety. The Four of Pentacles is a lot about safety. Earthly possessions, as well as just the whole concept about safety. Okay, it's something predictable, it's tried and true, it's very, very stable. And now we're transitioning into something else, which is a major escalation. We're going from a Four of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles. More financial blessings, more it's like another ladder that you're climbing. Okay, a new work environment that will allow you to climb that corporate ladder all over again, or even a new work environment that will allow you to be the owner, the boss, the self-employed person, and managing other people. Even some of you might even be thinking about managerial, supervisory types of position where you're overseeing the work of others. And I'm feeling as well, there's just a lot of changes that are necessary and in store for you. And you know that change is inevitable, but you're still trying to lay down the foundation of what this new thing is supposed to be like. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here. And we have as well the Tower and the Death card. So I don't know if there has been like a recent death in the family, hence the whole ritual about letting go of the ship. Okay, so this is kind of like irreversible change that has already happened. It's something that you cannot go back to, and now it's signifying a big, major transition coming through in your life, as well as financial windfall. So, money coming in as a result of somebody passing away, money coming in as a result of a situation that might have been cataclysmic, but now there's some type of a final resolution from this. I do feel like the 4 months time, Seven of Cups, I usually see that as like internet-based types of communication. A lot of avenues that you can walk down on, a lot of things that you need to sign, and just a lot of things, okay? Just a lot of paperwork, a lot of things to look at, a lot of little details to spiritual reading. We have here the High Priestess, and this usually denotes to me unearthing something, discovering something, getting to the bottom of something, getting some really, really solid detail, some concrete information that your intuition or your hunches has been nagging at you all along. And I feel like for many of you, there is going to be some major, major news coming into the picture regarding this situation. For some of you, it could be a person where you're getting news, possibly about, I don't want to dwell on this. This is a really spiritual reading. I don't want to dwell too much on relationship because it's indicating to me bigger picture, bigger items, things that affect a lot of people, not just our individual story, okay, our individual narrative. I feel like you're getting some major, major news coming into the picture regarding some type of a big plot, regarding something that is that you felt all along, but now you're getting that final confirmation, okay? I'm also seeing as well in the work environment. I'm feeling like there might be some restructuring. There might be like an implementation of a major, major, massive overhaul in the work situation. If you're feeling a little bit nervous, like I wonder what's going to come out as a result of it. I wonder if my position is safe. I feel like your position is safe. And I also feel like there could even be people leaving that might be above you, okay? Some restructuring when it comes to personnel. If your position is right here, I feel like they're on top of you. So those positions might be opening up. Hence, you can slip into those positions and get a higher salary or even a higher pay increase. And you're going to be made aware of this. If there has been a lot of, hush hush, closed doors, conversations in your office, and you feel the energetic waves, okay? They're like conversations or unspoken conversations or things that are kind of like behind closed doors or hidden out of view. You're going to get some major information, really big information. Like I see the ground shaking, but in a good way, because I feel like it brings about a lot of positive change, okay? So you're going to get like confirmation that whatever has been going on, it's been going on for some time, and now it's been like kind of resolved behind closed doors, and as a result of it, it's going to be brought to light when everything has already been resolved. So if there are some major structural issues in the work environment, just know that it's the irons are getting wrinkled out. That things are going to, I see this bottleneck. Okay, so things are going to bottleneck, and then it just kind of every time there's a bottleneck, somebody is going to come in and try to expand that road so that things can transition smoothly. So I'm seeing a situation where there's a lot of uncertainty being ironed out, and there's a lot more certainty towards the end. And I feel for many of you, new positions opening up that you can potentially apply for, that you qualify for. But I feel like many of you are feeling very, very restless right now, and you're not really sure if the changes at the end of it, if it's going to be good. I can assure you it's going to look a lot better, okay? Your financial situation is definitely on the upswing, and it is improving. And I also feel like your emotional state is going to be a lot more settled, okay? So we have 4 of coins, 6 of coins. That's a major improvement here. We have the 7 of cups to the 4 of cups, which basically means choices, options are pretty much dwindling. But because they're dwindling from a state of confusion, from a state of too many options, too many uncertainty, to a space where you have a lot more certainty here with the 4 of cups, okay? There is a card on here that I want to see what's going on. So the Page of Wands is a messenger, and I feel like this is you. You could be the bearer of news. You could be the one that's privy to information, and you're going to blow some things out of the water, okay? This is what I call like the whistleblower, but this is also the delivery of news, okay? Like that kid on his bike with the rolled up the roles of newspaper. Okay, so you might be the one that is that's like dropping the bomb on everybody's lap. Okay, so let me see what this relates to. Can you give me 2 more cards? Okay, so I'm going to take those and put this back. I have here the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Ten of Cups. So the Emperor indicates leadership. Okay, this is like leadership quality being thrust in a position. So those of you who have applied for like a promotion, I feel like you're going to be able to get it. We have the Hierophant as well. And I feel like this is sort of like that David and Goliath type of battle. This is your energy, the epitome of Aries here. This is like distilled Aries energy. Doing what's right, following your moral compass. And I feel almost like you're very, very pure at heart. Even if somebody presents you with an idea or a concept or a situation and you're just like, wait a minute, that's not completely moral, I feel like you're going to give them like a piece of your mind. And we have a situation here, the Hierophant, what I mentioned earlier about expectations, other people's expectations of you, social expectations, society's expectation, what has always been, you know, tried and true. Just because it's tried and true and it has been around for years and it's, you know, everybody follows this rubric, it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it the ideal type. Okay, people did it, they never questioned it, but it doesn't make it right. So I feel like for many of you, you're at a point where you're trying to, you know, reform this big structure, mainly because you feel like you have a better idea of how it should be, and you feel like you've come into your own, where you don't need these rules and these restrictions and these constraints. You know how to do what you're expected to do. And we also have as well Ten of Cups. This is getting really, really good news when it comes to your emotional state, okay? Many of you might be getting married because the Hierophant deals with institutions. So if this is something you've been waiting long and hard on, I do see proposals. I do see a situation where, you know, you're in a relationship and you're just like, when is that person going to propose? Am I wasting my time even? And I feel like there might be a proposal in the picture for many of you for this month, and it's going to come out of the blue. It's going to come very, very unexpectedly, and it's really going to, you know, set your heart on fire. Okay. So we have really, really good news, and we have a lot of positive things that are coming into the picture, which to me is all indicative of you have to release. Okay, you have to like be open-handed, open-hearted, open-fisted in a situation, and not cling too much to a certain expectation that you have regarding a situation. When we relinquish control, it allows the universe to kind of shuffle things around, and everything will kind of like lock in place the way it's meant to. It's like that jigsaw puzzle, right? Like if you've ever, I feel like many of you guys can, you know, do a jigsaw puzzle and you get really frustrated. It's not just about, you know, setting the pieces aside that have similar color schemes. It's more as well about making sure that all the edges, all the little pieces fit together. If we try to force it, it ruins the edges, right? If we try to like hammer it in or pound it in, it doesn't work. So there's a right fit, and there's also divine timing at work in everything that we do in life. And so we just kind of have to approach it in a more delicate way and allow the situation to just kind of naturally unfold. And when we do that, all the right pieces will kind of like find their way to each other, and then they'll lock into place, and it will create a more solid, stable structure. Okay? So that is what I have for you, Aries. Reading, I do have a link in the description box for this psychic. She's based out of California. She is phenomenal. I highly recommend getting a reading with her. Okay, so if you want to do that, the link is in the description box below. Take care of yourself and